Asher Command today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Glad to have you here, sending some positive vibes your way today, especially if you need it. Today, we're going to talk about, honestly, something that is probably one of the most popular questions that I get in the comments on almost all of my videos, and that is just kind of out of curiosity. What do you do every day, Ash, in the game? How do you prioritize what to do, especially in a game? I mean, like, look at the keys.
It will never end.
Imagine being a new player, I mentioned this before, and seeing this and being like, what the heck do I prioritize here? Like, what is going on? And this only accounts for what, like 20% of the content in the game? I want to give a quick disclaimer. This guide is not meant to be for early game players, right? For people just starting out. I do have a 2023 beginner's guide along with a 2022 and 2021 beginner's guide for Raid Shadow Legends out there. And that's more orienting you around like what is everything in the game. But on this video, I am assuming that you guys know what everything actually is inside the game and that you're at least in the mid game, meaning that you're able to, well, unlock all of this content for the most part, right? So with all that being said, in the early game, if you are an early game player, go ahead and still continue to watch. Hopefully it all makes sense. Right now, in the early game, new players should be focused on getting their first champions to level 60 and, you know, devising their first teams, right? So that's going to be taking up the majority of your time as a beginner in the game. And I'm also not going to include, you know, like making food to sacrifice, right? Because that depends on where you are and what you're focused on. So obviously, this is just going to be kind of a average day in the life. You don't have some big special project that you're working on, some team you're trying to min-max or whatever inside the game. It's more of like, these are the things that I do every day. And here's, if I'm not going to do something, here's the order that I do them in terms of importance, starting at number one. So without further ado, number one thing, honestly, just in a nutshell, I'm focused on my priorities in this game are all the things that don't cost energy. Because energy is it's a finite resource that costs money. But surprisingly, for a company that's always trying to get every last dollar out of us, there's actually a lot of really important things to do that don't cost you anything.
Fucking commercial, Roger, go to fucking commercial.
Don't you dare stop.
Number one thing I am doing every single day, no matter what, is using my clan boss keys, my demon lord keys, because, well, it's obvious, right? This is like the easiest, I say easiest in quotations, but this is the most reliable way to get the most scarce resources inside the game. Soon, hopefully, they'll be adding an instant battle option, so that will take away a lot of time, at least for me. I usually use my Demon Lord fights on my way to like the gym or in the car, basically, right? And it takes up like a whole car drive and back for me, right? That's time that I could be used elsewhere, right? So I can't wait for the instant activation, but anyway, until we get that, you know, do your clan boss battle. No matter where you are, do your battles. This is the way to get sacred shards, void shards, legendary skill tomes, epic skill tomes, immortal in cruelty gear. So Demon Lord's number one. Number two is going to shock and chagrin everybody, but this is just me, right? Every day, I try to do 5 tag team. You can see I did it this morning, right? I do 5 tag team arena battles right after I do clan boss every day. Tag team's not the most fun inside the entire game, but the idea here is I try to just snipe these teams if I can, right? But I usually keep random teams in there because I always forget at the end of the week to climb back up to make sure I don't fall out of gold or as high as possible. So sometimes if I don't have a lot of gimmies, that means that I'm probably getting too high in trophies. So what I end up doing is just basically throwing matches. So I start a match, and then even 5 times in a row, I will just quit the entire series just so that I get my advanced quest in.
How hard do you want to fight?
And here is as stubborn as you are.
What the
Now, this is nice really quickly because we're going to be farming gold bars for the bazaar. And the bazaar is where you can get your Direct Star Blood Twin if you don't have them yet. That's super important. If you're able to jump to gold, you can farm every month 1 sacred shard, but also legendary skill tomes, accessories, and rank and rarity charms. Man, I'm a sucker for those. I get those wherever I can, clan shop, anything. I'm always buying rank and rarity charms. I wish they would make those, I wish they would move those to silver. Anyway, another conversation for another day, but there's also good deals on energy and silver. And what I'm trying to say, guys, and brews is another thing that I love buying because I'm always out of brews. So I like buying brews as well. But honestly, there's a lot of good stuff you can get here. So even if you don't like tag team, it would behoove you to do it. Now, the real reason we're doing that is because it's going to give you extra faction war keys, and that's priority number 3. So number 1 is Clan Boss, Demon Lord. Number 2 is 3v3 Arena, 5 matches at least. And number 3 is Faction Wars. It's going to give you 18 keys instead of 12. That's going to allow you to go ahead and farm quite a bit, and that's how you get your hands on some of the most important things inside the entire game. Faction Wars is obviously a priority over 3 vs 3, but I want to make sure that I get my best bang for my buck and I get all of my Faction War keys every day, which is 18 instead of 12 if you do your 5 battles, okay, in tag team. Super important. All right, so why do I love Faction Wars so much? Well, it gives you glyphs, right? And glyphs are so important in this game. They're so powerful. They can really turn. You know what you should do when you're building a champion, if you're using fresh artifacts sometime? Go ahead and build them without glyphs. Every artifact, every accessory, and then add the glyphs and screenshot the stats before and after. It's really dramatic what you can do to your account with glyphs. Even more than that, that's going to give you access to 2 of the most important forge set materials in the game. That's going to be resilience and perception. Perception, because it's arguably the best 2-piece set inside the entire game, gives you accuracy and speed. It's one of the most widely used, it's the most widely used set in all of Raid Shadow Legends, okay? So perception. All you have to do is fight in the classic arena and do your faction war battles to get those forged materials. It's as easy as that. Resilience is not important because it's good. It's important because it's easy to get and it's not good.
I'm confused.
And you get it from classic arena, again, and faction wars. So will stones from faction wars and bloodstones from faction wars are going to be great. With resilience gear, we're just farming those materials only to sell it. It's going to give us a ton, millions and millions and millions of silver over time. So it's important to actually get those will stones as well so we can sell resilience gear. I like to do it during clan versus clan. And then perception gear we can forge and keep, and we can use all our good charms, our ranked charms and our rarity charms for the gear we're actually going to keep. Obviously, we're not using it on resilience, so that's faction wars. Super, super important there. The next thing that we're going to use, 4th priority every day, is going to be your classic arena battles for the same reason. A, it's going to help you farm your Great Hall, which is going to be a big priority until you have it maxed out, especially until you can get all your accuracy, especially where you can get your defense up as well, crit damage. I mean, it's all going to help you, right, in the long run. So that's reason number 1 that arena is our 4th priority every day. And of course, reason number 2 is because it's going to give us, yes, a gear for resilience and perception gear to sell and to forge, okay? So that's the other component for the Magisteel, is the classic arena battles. And we get those keys for free every single day anyway. Then the last thing that I'm doing for free every day, and by the way, when I said clan boss earlier, guys, I should say Hydra included. I hate forgetting all week, and at the end of the week feel pressure to get 3 battles into the last day. So for me, I really try to get all my keys in the first day if I possibly can. So I try to get that out of the way with early. But 5th priority is going to be Doom Tower silver keys, right? So farming more forged material here in Doom Tower. Now, the only rotation that I'm religious on this, right, this activity every day, otherwise I'm liable to skip it, would be Dark Fae, right? Getting my hands on all the lethal gear. I try to farm it every single day on the Dark Fae track. It's so important to get that lethal gear because it's so hard to get Savage gear. It's so difficult to get good pieces. With lethal, at least we know it's going to be lethal, and we can use our ore and all that good stuff. Anyway, the other on this rotation, I actually go after Frostbite gear. I'm a big fan of Frostbite. I think it's a fun little niche set to use in the arena as well. But either way, using our Doom Tower silver keys, again, they replenish every day. It gives us essentially free forged material. Hey guys, before I move on to number 6, I want to mention one final thing. In the past, a long time ago, before the Forge was such a big thing in the game, or before the Forge was a thing in the game, I used to recommend to everybody farm stage 20 of Faction Wars. No longer the case, guys. Farm stage 21. If you can. These are for those of you who obviously got to stage 21 and were able to complete it. Even if it takes you a lot more time, do stage 21, because although the glyph drop rates are the same for 20 and 21, you get more forged or better forged materials, better chance at getting more and better forged materials at stage 21 in Faction Wars. Now we got the glyphs covered, We got perception, resilience gear covered. We got our books, our sacred, our void shards. We have a tons of forge gear. Everything's covered in those 5 priorities. Those are the most important to me. After that, it does depend a little bit on what you need, okay? So if you're for priority number 6, I would look at tournaments, look at events, look at fusions or fragment summons. What's going on in the game right now? So this is the first time that I'm taking a step back from all of those other habits, the first 5, and taking a look at, okay, you know what? I need to do a little ice golem farming anyway. It's been a while, right? So I'll go do this ice golem tournament. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're in a fusion, if you're in a specific tournament, whatever, go ahead and try to coincide your farming, your energy usage, to coincide with those events or tournaments that you get bonus rewards, right? Of course, it makes all the sense in the world. I do need to farm some more reflex gear anyway, and retaliation's not too bad, and I need some provoke gear. So, you know, there's some decent sets. Everybody gives a snub to Ice Golem, and truthfully, it does kind of suck compared to Fire Knight, but there are some good sets in there as well. So I'm looking at events and tournaments, and then I'm deciding where I want to use my energy. If there's nothing that makes sense there, okay, I don't need to farm Ice Golem, I'm not going for the fusion, whatever, then I would use my energy instead on either Iron Twins, if I was in the mood to really, you know, harm myself. Or I would use my energy on the keeps if I was low on potions. I always like to stay as stocked up as humanly possible in my my ascension potions, because it's so annoying when you want to upgrade a champion, you just don't have any, especially arcane keep. So I would use my energy there, or Iron Twins, or if I was low on silver, Spider's Den. So again, that's number 7. And again, it's going to be dependent on what you need. But I always look first in these areas. Okay, potions, are they good? Usually they're good, because usually you farm a day or 2, and you're good for a while, like several weeks, unless you're maxing out tons of champions. And then I look at Iron Twins, especially on Sundays, or Minotaur's Labyrinth as well, if you want to work on masteries, right? So that would be my next kind of priority. Other than that, Spider's Den, or just farming up Fire Knight, because all of this good gear, right? Regen, stun, savage, you guys know it all, right? So again, that would be like, I would say, goal-specific orientation to tournaments and events. If not, then just use where you need the most, right? After that, I'm looking at my quests, right? I'm looking at my daily, my weekly, my monthly, and my advanced quests. I'm looking at what I actually need, you know? Hey, I love brews, right? I love brews. So maybe I'm going to go use my 5 silver keys in Doom Tower next, right? Obviously, that should have been a priority earlier, but I also like substat charms. Okay, I need to win 3 artifacts. So usually I'll go through what do I need in these quests, and then I'll focus on that area. So that would be number 8. Number 9 would be, and this is I try to do this as much as I can in terms of auto farming. If I don't need all of the above, we talked about a lot of ways to spend your energy so far. I am using, these are the areas I farm most right now. I'm using all my excess energy that I possibly can muster on Sand Devil's Necropolis and Phantom Shogun's Grove. If we want to like kind of break that down even further, I want to farm these easier levels and get my hands on lesser extracts and lesser oils, excuse me. I forgot what they were for a second there. So many resources in this damn game. I want to get my hands on a lot of lesser. That way I can see what the substats are, and then I can make the decision to invest the greater and superior oils if I want to down the road, right? So that would be Sand Devil in Shogun's Grove would be my next priority. And then number 10, the 10th thing that I do every day, if I'm done with all of that stuff, you know, on top of everything else we have to think about in this game, it would be Live Arena, right? So Live Arena is important, even if you're not really digging Live Arena, just to get those medals, man, just to get those medals, and eventually get your hands on Quintus the Triumphant as well, right? In a couple years, it feels like. But seriously, Live Arenas is good. I find it fun, personally. I don't know how you guys feel about it. How do you feel about Live Arena now that's been in the game for a few months, you know? Because just like Great Hall, eventually we want to max out our area bonuses as well. Last little side note, it's a real big bummer that they don't have Sand Devil and Shogun in the area bonuses. They don't have quite a few areas. I would love to see them add at least Sand Devil and Shogun, maybe Iron Twins as well, right? They don't have Iron Twins either, right? Maybe all 3 of those dungeons in their own little category over here, you know, maybe. Anyway, guys, that's it. Those are my 10 priorities every day. One last time, Clan Boss, 3v3 Arena, Faction Wars, Arena Keys, using my classic Arena Keys, Doom Tower Farming, And then the energy consumption list, number 6, is look at my events and tournaments. If not, go to Fire Knight, go to Spider, get my potions, whatever makes sense at the time. After that, advanced quests. After that, Sand Devil and Shogun. And then after that, live arena for my area bonus progress. Guys, hopefully you found this helpful. That's what I do every day. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with, and maybe what you prioritize every day, especially if it's any different than mine. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you watching all the way till the end. And as always, take care, guys.